now we have another good chat. So the AI is getting really good, as you know. And there's like a picture that went around X last night, completely fabricated. It looks very real. And it looks like this. And supposedly, this guy beat me at FIFA 8-2 and 7-2. 4 times in a row. AI is getting really good. So if you have a big round of applause for Max from Score. FIFA's not my game, Rust is my game, but yeah. Pointer and next slide.
Okay, thank you. Hi everyone, Max, co-founder and CEO of Score. And yeah, that was pretty much my opening line. I'm the guy who destroyed Siam yesterday at FIFA. No, this way. Okay, cool. So Score, we are an AI research company, pretty well balanced between AI researchers and business people, and we focus on vision. Our thesis is human-level intelligence is not going to be reached just based on text-based intelligence. So we decided to run our own subnet on BitTensor. I'm pretty much sure that you are all familiar with Tau. And we started with a very simple mission, but a clear one. We want to turn every single camera on the planet to like a money-making machine. We think that people are not able at the moment to leverage the whole footage that has been recorded every single day on the planet. So this is a pretty simple mission, but the way to get there is actually quite complex. The reason we went with Tau and with BitTensor is because we think that this tech has to be open sourced. Everyone should be able to use it. Everyone should be able to train it at home. Everyone should be able to benefit from all the tech breakthroughs from a physical perspective, because at the end of the day, AI is more of a physical problem, I think, than a code problem, than a tech, code-based problem. The reason we think it should be, completely decentralized and completely open source is because if you think about it, the way tech is going at the moment is just about 4 different companies that have all the money in the world and are building closed source systems just for their own benefit. But if you think about the number of people and companies and entities in the world that would benefit from an easy way to process their video pipelines, we would be able to solve problems for, I don't know, hospitals in different regions of the world, CCTV in malls, and you name it. We started with a very specific problem, a niche problem, because for different reasons we were connected to the world of sports and mainly football. And we started running a computer vision competition on BitTensor on subnet 44. And the thing we were trying to do and achieve is to actually start with what we call tracking data. So when you do computer vision, what you want to do basically is you want to first track what's moving on the picture. And then you want to understand and be able to kind of set and recognize if it's like a football player, a car, an egg in a factory, whatever. So we started to attack the AI labeling problem. And the reason we started with this is because most of sports analytics companies are having a hard time to process games and different footage fast enough and cheap enough. Most of the time it's human labeling that kicks in. And the reason we did pretty well is because with the power of the miners on BitTensor, we were able to be 100 times cheaper, 100 times faster, and 92% accurate on what we were doing. Just to give you an idea, a rough idea about what it means, you can take like the biggest company in the world, that does AI labeling for soccer or labeling for soccer, which is called Opta. It takes them, StatsBomb are good as well. It takes them like roughly 8 to 9 hours to annotate the full game of football. And with subnet 44, it takes us 2 minutes. So that kind of gives you the kind of a sense of the power of BitTensor. With that first version, we managed to get 6 products connected to our subnet. One of them is, I would say, one of the biggest scouting app in football so far. The other projects are more, I would say, smaller teams building in this space. And the exciting thing, is that we also managed to show like football footage to other people from other sports and convince them to start working with us. But as you go, you just face different problems. The first problem we faced is that the way we set up the tech was completely focused on football and football only. And as you go deeper in the tech, you just realize that if you want to solve the real problem, you have to take a step back and make it more general purpose. So this is exactly what we did. And the reason we did this is because our biggest customer, which is not from the 6 products, is a sports hedge fund, as in like a large betting syndicate. And they actually needed way more information than what we were able to provide from the tracking and event generating data. But to give them what they needed, we also needed to kind of think about the way the subnet was running in a complete different way. And the funny thing about that is we went larger and broader with our vision, stating that the world needs a faster, cheaper, accurate, open source way to generate insight from videos without ground truth and without human in the loop. The reason we stated this is because the biggest blocker at the moment in computer vision is that you need human labeled data. You need to tell the computer, this is a football player. Why? Because a human being is telling you so. So you can trust a human being. And if you don't trust one human being, and that's the reason why it takes 8 or 9 hours, is because if there's any edge case, you need to ask 1,000 human beings to get some sort of a statistical agreement on the fact that it's a football player. So ground truth was the biggest blocker. So we worked on a way to solve that problem. And I'm really happy today to introduce you to TurboVision. TurboVision is our completely new, revamped, restructured repo, as in source code, where basically, and I have a bit of a schematic here, we managed to tackle and solve the ground truth problem. The way we did this, and I'm going to make an analogy, we used the exact same principle as a turbocharger in a car engine. Turbocharger has been invented by a Swiss man because he thought that you could do as well as big engines with smaller engines using less resources. And the way he did this was to just compress some of the resource we all can use, which was air by the time. But going back to the subnet, what we do is actually quite interesting. We know that big AI companies are all working and training and spending billions of dollars in trying to create what we call VLMs, so visual language models, that are getting better and better. When we started Score, the best VLM on the market, which is still the same now, it's Qwen, it's from DeepSeek, was some sort like 55% accurate. When you asked Qwen to get a picture and just draw bounding boxes, it was roughly 55% accurate. Today it's close to kind of like 95% accurate. So what we decided to do is to create a way to use the money they're spending, so to have our own DeepSeek moment in Vision AI, use the money they're spending to get a sample of images from them. So we throw video to their models. And then we create what's called a pseudo-ground truth. So Score now is able, at scale, to tell other computer vision models that you can trust this small sample of images, rather than have to process the whole full videos every time. And the competition we're setting now on the subnet is quite interesting, because instead of trying to be the state-of-the-art VLM, we are turbocharging computer vision models so they are as good as Qwen, as Google Gemini, if I'm not mistaken, but using way less resources, being way more faster, and way cheaper. It's the reason why we are proud to call it TurboVision. The funny thing now that we worked around with the team and also with the whole BitTensor community is we had to kind of solve another problem. Because most of the time, when you run a subnet, people are happy to see that you are challenging all the benchmark, you're getting state-of-the-art, you're pushing and trying to undermine all the big companies. But the reality is when you work with a customer, and when your customers want to keep an edge, they would never share the data with you, or they would never share the data with the community of machine learning engineers, because they would be scared of leaks, basically. So the way we set up the new subnet is interesting. We're keeping an open source competition, so we can show the world in complete transparency. Models are on Hugging Face, they can be queried, you can download the code, you can check everything. There's an open source competition, so you can see that our turbocharging process is competing with the big guys' models. And at the same time, we're running another competition in parallel, completely closed, on another subnet, using TEEs, and I'm not going to bore you out with all the technical details, meaning that customers can share their data sets with us without showing the data to anyone. And what we're introducing, and I think other subnets are doing the same right now, is a way for miners to make money on the open source competition to show the world that they can compete, but also to make get another stream of revenue from the closed source competition. And I think it's probably a way for subnets to now get into the real world and start selling to large corporations. Yeah, so that's exciting in itself. And I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a nerd with Tau, but I guess you guys know how Tau can get into your head. This benchmark is not the exact slide I wanted to show you, but I'm just going to use this slide to kind of set some principles. What we're trying to do, basically, and what this slide is saying, is that we are constantly pushing the miners to get to the SOTA state. So every time a new VLM model is going to get better, our pseudo-ground truth is going to keep up with the SOTA model and force the miners to be very efficient and fast and cheap with the way they are building their models. I'll share a public version of that presentation with the right chart. I think Siam refused to change the chart, the slide after I beat him, but that's another conversation. I'm kidding. This is pretty much our roadmap right now. So we started with AI labeling, as I said. We're approaching what's called a visual language action model. Sorry about that. The difference between a VLM and a VLA is that the VLM is just about describing what's happening. The VLA, A stands for action, so it prompts someone or a system or a robot or a car to actually do something. And we're working on that A part of VLA with our co-founder, Dr. Peter Cotton, who's one of the godfather of any prediction thing you can ever think about. And we're also going to bring this kind of challenge to the subnet, but probably later in the year. And obviously the goal, as I said, is to kind of build this kind of general purpose vision layer and bring to the world this kind of cheap, fast, and accurate vision capability so every one of us could put this model behind all the cameras you will ever find around you. And that's us. Thank you, guys.
Right, Q&A time. We have a fluffy mic that we need to throw around the room. So, first question. Any questions? No. Daniel, catch. Nope. And also speak loud so everyone else.
Oh, okay. Hi. Right. So I've got a remorse company, and our main issue, or most time spent, is we contact clients, we get a survey, to go look around. So driving around, going seeing people's homes, see what furniture they have, what boxes. Sometimes we do Zoom calls and go through Zoom, and for a long time I was thinking, how can I use AI to automate it or to make it the whole cubing, counting, automatic. So its core would be something where it could be, let's say, I don't know, connected to Zoom or something like that, and then just, analyze all the furniture that's coming, all the items, and just write a list, volume, etc.
Yeah, 100%. That's the whole point. So the beauty of the model we built is that instead of trying to solve the problem as one model fits all, we're going to be able to ask miners to get your footage and get a model to be good at what you want to do with it. So that's how also we can get it cheaper and faster. And yeah, exactly. And I have another use case that I can tell you about. We're talking with oil companies for their petrol stations at the moment, because believe it or not, they don't have any way to see if a fire is starting in the petrol station. They need to ask, they need to see a customer get in to tell you, I think something's wrong's happening. Can you check? So the use cases are infinite.
So right now with CCTV in, say, the London area, like the Met, do they have any form of AI that is looking at already?
Yeah, already. So you can probably bet that all the big entities or big companies with big pockets and deep pockets are trying to implement that type of solutions. The problem they face is the exact problem we're trying to solve for our own customers, is that most of the time, having access to some sort of a crowd of let's say hundreds and hundreds of machine learning engineers, it's almost impossible. So you can't hire the right persons, first of all. Second, it's really hard to solve computer vision problems. And I would say, just to frame the problem they're facing, it's most of the time, they don't have the resources to kind of expand their ability. So they're probably going to go and see OpenAI and then run a POC. But then when they're going to realize that they probably need their own data center because of the size of the model, they're probably going to think twice.
And can you talk more about the sports hedge fund that you're working with?
Yeah.
Like how is Score making money from that?
So the way we're making money with them is because since I would say historically they're our first customer, and we kind of frame the VLA vision with them. So with them we're going to the full extent. So we're doing tracking, event, and action because we're sending them insights to kind of help them execute bets, right? So the way we work with them is we get APIs from all different sources, we get videos from different partners, and we run the video through the subnet. And then, with Peter, we've built our own kind of prediction engine that is mainly focused on players' position. So when you put everything together, then the end customer can get one clear information on what's happening, what's likely to happen. This is pretty much what everyone wants. They want to be able to throw a video and then to see kind of an agent. I'm calling them models, but you can call them agent because an agent is just like a good model and some good context. And then you will receive some information from the system and you'll be able to execute something.
So with this capability, there's all sorts of like revenue silos that you could target to the point where it's a kid in a candy shop. Like, what the hell do you choose? So you're going after the low-hanging fruit at the moment. Like, what are the next revenue silos?
So we decided not to go after all the verticals ourselves. And we see subnets as layer 2s. So what we want to do, basically, and I also don't want to be too technical, we literally just want to help other people, other teams, other companies to build and implement the tech. And the dream scenario for us would be to have some sort of a front end or API connections that would just allow people to send videos to the subnet. We would not be able to kind of sell to all the verticals, even if, thanks to Nigel, who's here, my business partner and co-founder, we have access to a lot of different companies and a lot of different verticals. But I think that would be completely delusional to think we would be able to sell. So instead of trying to hold that for us, we're just going to open the tech, open the distribution channels to other people.
And sorry, last question for me. So if let's say there's an average Joe that wants to set up a business using your capabilities, what would be a low-hanging business that they could do using Score?
So if they know anything about a company that is struggling with video pipelines, video processing, they can reach out to us. We're going to help them set up the right scaffolding, and it will be able to receive insights within their system. We actually did it with a guy based out of New Zealand. He had this great idea of building a scouting app for like local teams, and he knew that Score could process low quality videos. He reached out to us, and we ended up helping him with a grant to build his own front end, and now he's selling the front end in New Zealand. We're just waiting for him to sell a bit more because I think numbers are not quite that big at the moment. So if we announce like some buybacks of like $15, that's not probably going to be eye-watering for the Tao community.
Any other questions, folks? Yes.
So basically two questions. First is, as you mentioned that the main model, I think you started with was Quen from Alibaba and stuff, right? Is there a level of dependency you guys have on those open source vision models?
Not really. We just pick the best one.
Okay.
Every time you just pick the best one, you let them spend money,
Right.
You create pseudo ground truth and then you crack on.
So in a scenario, like for example, Llama from Facebook
Yeah.
being the open source, even now they are planning to get the next one as a closed source. If there's a scenario where the LLM model becomes closed source,
Yeah.
is there an impact on your side?
At the minute, yeah.
Okay.
But the goal is to be
Come out,
fast enough to don't need them anymore.
Perfect. Okay. Second question. Recently, I was watching a BBC documentary, and I think they have implemented this vision setup on passport control, and they are doing the same kind of tagging and all that, right? Is that something you guys be eventually do that generic layer which you're talking about, which will be available for that level as well? Or?
The thing I really want everyone to kind of keep in mind about us is we don't mind about the vertical. We just help people to go faster and to spend less money on the same thing. So before, we were really focusing on football and we were kind of really stuck there. Now we can tell anyone to come, bring their own type of video, and we would help them accelerate with the Turbo Vision stuff. Right. The good thing about the subnet is the way we framed it now, every time someone will bring a new task, so let's say passports, for instance, we would create like a new vertical in the competition. So miners would be rewarded just for this task.
Okay.
So this is how we kind of split things. So we're sure that for this very specific customer, we are state of the art as well. And if you want to keep something in mind is if you're able to run this pseudo ground truth, then you don't need human beings anymore.
Right.
And you don't need like big data centers because models that miners are bringing are super lightweight. So it's typical, simple kind of, business like 101. We're just coming here, we have a 10x, which is being faster, and we have another one which is being cheaper.
Okay.
It's super simple.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
How long until you have a really good model that doesn't need miners, but that you run locally, that can detect any moving object?
That's a good and fair question. I have to say I don't know yet. What I know is with the new evaluations we just ran about, before we launched a new version, the pseudo ground truth was 97% accurate. And the reason we went a bit down is because of the VLM. So as VLMs are getting better, the pseudo ground truth is going to get better. And then the miners are going to get better. And maybe at some point we'll be able to be completely self-supervised. But I don't know, I can't answer that question. But it's going to be, I think, in months rather than weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, Darby. You're going to hit someone.
I first just want to check whether I'm understanding correctly. Famously, Elon Musk moans about how difficult vision is to solve.
Yeah.
How are you doing on an open source basis what he's been trying to do for the last 10 years on a closed source basis? And if I'm in the ballpark, what are the major differences between what he's trying to do and what you're doing?
When you say he, I'm not hearing you well. So are you talking
Sorry.
about Elon?
Yes.
And cars?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the same thing. So he bet on computer vision and he said LiDAR was not good enough. I think he's right. And yes, to a certain extent, we're trying to do the same thing. I don't think we would be able to help Tesla today, but we're doing the exact same thing. But applied to everything.
But if Mercedes came to you tomorrow and said, we want to compete with Tesla, but we don't want to be part of their closed system, is open source that much better that it could catch up?
So that's my whole thesis. I don't mind if Elon doesn't want to work with me because I'm pretty sure that Merck will want to work with me because they can't spend the money Elon spent on, for the past 10 years on Teslas. So the beautiful thing about cameras is that we're all using them. And at some point, some people are going to try to be cute with their spendings and they will be able to work with us and just check, take the tech in an open source way. This is clearly the thesis.
Thanks. Just quick one before Josh. So home security, I had a pretty tight home security system in one of my last houses, and it was annoying as hell because anything that moved, we'd get buzzed. A fox would wake us up. A deer, we had lots. It would just wake. It was basically dumb. It could spot things that moved. It would wake us up constantly to the point we just turned it off.
Yeah.
So I was just now thinking about that, back to that. Could you have a 360 camera that could have that it could see in the night as well, and then it spots something that moves, but knows it's a fox and just doesn't alert you?
Yeah. So that's The short answer is yes. The thing is, it doesn't have anything to do with us as Score as a company. But the reason we moved from the past version of the subnet to the new one is because our subnet was as dumb as this system. So we needed to be a bit smarter. But yeah, so the big problem about that is most computer vision models have been built on top of quality data. And because it's really expensive to pre-annotate the data, people kind of stay there and they stop innovating because it's super expensive. If we talk again about a football game, most companies are spending between $1,000 to $5,000 to annotate one game. So it tells you everything. AI is a resource problem. You need to spend less power and go faster because at some point there's a limit, like in any physical systems.
Hey, thanks very much for that. That's super interesting stuff. So I'm just trying to practically understand. So I'm quite familiar with Second Spectrum and understand the Prem quite well. Yeah. I employ some team that used to work there now within my business. So what is it that your kind of models in that football example are doing that are markedly different from what Second Spectrum are already doing in the industry?
So I can't disclose everything because if you connect it to Second Spectrum, maybe. No, so
they work for me now. It's fine.
No. So just keeping it like high level. Let's say that we can bring our customer more data. So most of labeling companies in football are focusing on 2,000 events per game. With the subnet, we can actually annotate everything. So that's one key difference. Second key difference is back at the back of the work from Peter Cotton, they're getting to a prediction model that is good. That's pretty much roughly what the answer.
And then the second question would be, my business is, I own a GPU compute infrastructure data center. Yep. So obviously, machine learning and vision learning is super heavy on GPU compute. So where does that sit within your subnet and all the workloads?
No, I think you can run your own subnet. You should.
Well, that's the conversation. Yeah.
You can chat with this guy.
How many GPUs do you have now?
We've got the most 49s and 59s of anyone in the UK now.
How many is that?
Well, it's on camera, so I can't say, but it's a good amount, yeah. So, yeah.
You wanted me to disclose things from my customer. Thank you.
So, a question. So, Steve, accountant Steve, he's high up in Norwich City Football Club.
Okay.
And what info do I need to arm him to get score? Like, would Norwich City be spending $5,000 a game on? Probably not. No. It would probably use a lighter version of a model that has been trained by a bigger club. Okay. So less capacities.
Okay. Hey. So I'm assuming you guys are a company. So how do you make your money when someone like the guy from New Zealand comes to you? Not necessarily him, but someone comes to you and says, I'm trying to do this. Can you help me? How do you make your money? Do you charge them on the side, or do you, and then if that company is profitable, which I assume it is, where do you keep your money? As in, do you keep it in Tau? Do you keep it in your own subnet tokens?
Do you want an address?
And then, and then, and then finally, if that company is wildly successful, how does that influence your subnet token price? Yeah,
that's a very good question. So first of all, let's say the ecosystem part of what I said is because we believe that more people should be connected to Tau. So for us, it's just net positive for the subnet and for Tau. So we don't make any money out of the builders. We let them use the subnet, and the bet is the Tau price is going to accrue in value. First thing. Second thing is, obviously, the private competition is going to be connected to real-world revenue. And we just stated we need to kind of work the numbers because we need to. But we stated that part of the revenue is going to flow back in, and we're going to buy back Tau. My belief is that if you really want to connect a token to a real-world value that you're able to capture, you need to burn the Tau. We're not going to use the revenue to buy our Tau back and then just be richer in Tau. We're going to try to bring value back to the Tau holders. The only thing I think could be high risk, and I heard that from other subnet owners, is to create like a complete and direct link between crypto asset and your equity. So that's something we wouldn't do.
Yeah, so you're scared to say, right, we're going to burn X when Y happens and be committed to something, right?
Yeah.
You kind of want to keep your own, you want to discern when that's the right time to do it. So how much have you burnt so far, or when are you going to start burning?
We haven't burned anything so far.
And when do you think you might, and do you have any vision for how you're going to do that?
When the private version can run on Targon, so quite quickly, then real customers are going to be connected, and we're going to be able to have a dashboard live with Targon to show the revenue that that went in, and the money we used to kind of buy back and burn alpha tokens.
Great. So there'll be transparency
there. The ratio, if we want to speak about a ratio, should be about something 20% of the revenue or something like that. I think, like a good old 80-20. I think would be fair.
Amazing. And how far away do you think that might be then?
We're already charging customers. The only thing is, we need to charge more customers, and we need the private competition to achieve that. So, it's imminent.
Amazing, thank you.
So your miner emissions are about 50 Tau per day. How, in terms of months, how long do you think the 20% of the buybacks you do will match miner emissions? Are we talking a year, 18 months, or?
Less than a year, I think. Yeah.
It's pretty bullish.
I mean, just think about that. If we're able, and this is what we're building at the moment, if we're able to have a front end that let anyone upload a video and get it annotated completely automatically, then we're in the race with Scale AI, and so and there's already like thousands of companies that are just paying API calls to these companies. So the route to revenue is short.
Huh. So this means you can just label up static pictures as well, then?
Pictures or videos, yeah.
Because that's one of the issues of another labeling subnet.
Yeah.
So this means you could basically make that subnet redundant. I'm not mentioning the name.
What's the name?
I'm not saying. Huh.
I think
Okay.
I came here to make friends.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, cool. Well, mate, Matt, thank you. Big round of applause.